Hello, meow meow. Crazy stuff going on in the Senate today. Let me put live chat on. I hope that now I can see that the reconnection was successful. I don't know what's going on. So let me put the live chat on before I put my avatar back on. And it's really late, 1:30 in the morning. But I think this is gonna be like my schedule. Yeah, I think I'm gonna... Hi! Hello! I think I wanna increase the volume so that you guys don't have to turn up the volume and get...
Zeit, sich die Hände schmutzig zu machen!
So that you don't have to crank up your volume. Because I know that if you crank up your volume and then maybe switch to a different video, or there's an ad, it's gonna be too loud. And I can't remember if I took my multivitamins already. I probably have.
Greift ihre Position an! Los, Attacke! Greift ihre Position an! Los, 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 Attacke!
Homie.
Deserteure werden erschossen!
Oh, frick.
Hab einen erwischt! Ja!
I kinda have a headache right now. Anyway,
Werfe Granate! Stellung gesichert!
excuse me. I'm gonna cut the wire. You know, I think my headache is caused by lack of nutrition. That's why I am really taking my multivitamins, because I don't get to eat well. I really wanna start teaching and earning again. Plus, you know, I think my body is craving more caffeine right now. Help me defend B. Incoming bombers. Accept our fate. Wow, we survived. Good job. Meow, 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 meow.
Greift ihre Position an!
Hell yeah. Big iron. Big iron on my hip. Man, my head really hurts.
Wir brauchen Luftaufklärung! Brauche Mörserunterstützung!
I bet I'm gonna hit a lot of people. So, 6. Let's see.
Stirb, du Sau!
Oh, excuse me. I think I'm gonna play Genshin Impact tonight. I miss my characters. And you know, I really gonna make myself, I really gonna prepare myself for the kind of schedule I'm gonna have. So, gotta accept my fate. You know, I think I'm gonna have to work a split shift.
Männer nachladen! Los, Attacke!
Was it 5 to 7? So 7 hours, and then was it 5 to 7? 7. I think it's gonna be 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. So that would be 3 hours. 7 plus 3 equals 10. Man, the whole thing sucks.
Get me back on! Greift ihre Position an! Angriff! Attacke! Comprendimi!
Oh, and then for Saturdays and Sundays, five a.m. to 11. So no, I don't think I can do that. So if I still do 7, there's a person at the window. So I gotta review my prepositions also. Yeah, headshot.
Das gehört zu uns!
Hell yeah.
Io preso uno, ragazzi! Savoia!
Man, freaking hell. Oh man. I'm not gonna have any money for for things I want. I'm just gonna have barely enough to live. You know, I hate that I really hate that, I wanted to leave my previous company. I really appreciate my bosses for giving me the option. They were telling me I might have a hard time getting a job, and at least there I would surely have somewhere to be transferred to. But this is my decision, and I don't blame anyone. And then I told everyone not if they wanted to follow suit, well, don't blame me. No. And I hope that everyone is doing well. Wishing for people not to do well will not help me. And like I said earlier, if a person is doing well and they wouldn't have any reason to do evil or get it off of someone else. So yeah, that's why even if I hate the person, even though I hate the person, I wish them well. If I hate something about a person, I just hope that they change for the better.
Angriff!
And I'm really thankful about the sun. It's been fully charging my setup
Los, Attacke!
every day. Every day full charge. Man, I just remembered.
Bring die Stücke!
Yeah, I just remembered Mihoyo. It's Mihoyo's fault why I find one of my bosses attractive. she's like Yadari, yeah. I mean the hair. She's pretty thick. No, no, no. Don't destroy the sandbags. I'm using them. Oh man, my headache is really rolling.
Sto ricaricando! Guarda che mi spalle!
Excision.
Let me Deckung! Bin am Nachladen!
It's safe here. Yeah, I'll use my whistle.
Los, los, los! Attacke! Granate! Samoja! Greift ihre Positionen!
Oh man.
Wir werden uns rächen!
Oh yeah, I know. I cooked Hungarian sausage and next time I think I'll just buy Frank's. Sometimes I think I don't wanna eat. No, I mean I don't wanna buy spicy food. So that I can feed it to cats. In case. I mean, I don't want to have like all leftovers, but in case cats visit, at least I can feed them a little bit. Man, I really wish that cats lived in our backyard. We have a rat problem. Okay, I wanna play something else. I said I wanted to play Genshin Impact, but whatever. I think I'm gonna check out my Tuesday, so it's been 2 days, almost 2 days. At least we have communication. I'm gonna be honest. I don't wanna use my gas airsoft units outdoors. Because, there's no... I mean, being indoors, it adds to the realism because, the sound is loud. Outdoors, it's so unrealistic. Hold on, I'm gonna get some water. Hold on. Man. I kinda miss my job. Basic paid well. um, not stellar, but you know. Now it feels like going back to square one. But it's okay. At least I don't have to um I don't have to do as much laundry. I don't really have to pack some food sometimes. And I'm not I'm not exposed to too much temptations, back then I was drinking so much coffee and soda, energy drinks, eating so much donuts, what else? What else were the bad things? Sometimes I'd eat chocolate. But I miss the free food. That's one of the good things from the company. The free food that was always good, always fresh. I never got food poisoning from there. Yep, that's great. Oh, clap, yeah. Very good. Meow meow.
Mày bị ngu à?
Okay, Gombi.
I love you bro.
I love me. I love me too. Buy me Big Mac.
Do you love me?
Yeah, buy me Big Mac. Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac. Two. Two there, two.
Who kill? Who kill?
Good job, son.
Using this boy make me come bro.
What the frick?
I'm come. Take it from me.
Stop it. Get some help. Buy me Big Mac. Big
I want
Mac,
to fuck you.
Big Mac, Big Mac, Big Mac. Oh frick. Hello. City.
Let me ace, let me ace.
I steal.
Can I put my dick inside your mouth?
Buy me Big Mac. Buy me Big Mac. Base, no. Base, no. I wonder how I got that assist. Did I hit him? I think I hit him when he was in the middle. Or maybe I hit him with a grenade or something. Buy me Big Mac.
Được, can I?
On site.
Kaya?
Meow meow meow. Where? Bro, come here.
Stop doing that. This siege boy rule. Maybe your real voice is just like shit and that's why you use turn,
Yeah.
right? You're a man with like 40 years old and have a small dick? Like play all the time in home?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. My bad, sorry.
Cover me while I plant.
Last arch.
Help me, bro.
Terrorists win. You beauty.
But I should really, you know, I don't really wanna get like all sweaty. But you know, I gotta move. I really need exercise, you know, move my joints, stretch my back. But I don't really wanna sweat. I just wanna be but I do sweat when I sleep.
Smoking.
What? You know, I said before I like dark hair, but
Blue? Just show me your real voice and send me your PayPal. I will give you $200.
Robux,
Yes, $200.
Robux,
What the fuck?
Robux, Roblox money.
Not Roblox, bro.
Big Mac.
Throwing flashbang. Deploying smoke shield.
Why you nade, bro? I don't see anything. Shit aim.
Eh. Clutch working.
If you want me to carry you, just show me your real voice. Okay?
No.
Way to plant.
Nhanh. Kịp vào sau ấy. Kịp. Không chấm không một giây.
Fire in the hole.
Where is? Don't run.
They're really just using from us. Anyway, how's the stream going? I hope it's not like laggy or anything. Laggy or low on frame rate. Looks fine. Excuse me.
Molotov out.
Damn. But no, I think for Inari, I prefer her original look.
Drop me
Go
smoke.
yeah.
Take bomb and drop me smoke.
One up. Hạt điếu đấy.
There, I dropped it. Behind you.
Yes. Back city. Can go B.
To what?
In the smoke.
Thôi tôi yếu.
Good job.
One banana.
Fire in the hole. Throwing flashbang.
Được rồi. Bơm chưa lộ mà làm gì đi. Không đợi. Tôi chết trên kia mà.
Oh no.
Oh, good.
No, not good.
It's good. If
No.
that's you. If it's good here, it's good.
Counter-terrorists win.
It's been a long day.
Line down to fire. Grenade out. Throwing the flashbang. Throwing smoke.
Frick. Kokogaka.
Terrorists win.
Good job. No. Sometimes I do wanna HPA. You know, I want to get like a GBB model and then HPA it. I just have budget constraints. That's why I've been sticking to electric. Especially now that I'm into solar.
Let me go first. Blue. Stay here. Let me go first.
Mauna ka na.
You're so shit.
Mauna ka na.
What are you fucking saying?
Aray mo.
Kuya.
Activating the bomb. Bomb has been planted. Terrorists win. You'll cry like Bennett before you die. Let's give it to the boys.
Oh, excuse me.
Grenade. Throwing fire. Grenade out. Terrorists win. Bomb has been planted.
You know, I really cannot wait for the... I mean, you know, I know that
Thế tôi đã biết chưa?
I might not... I mean, my setups might not fully charge when it comes to the rainy season or the cloudy season.
Deploying flashbang.
But, you know, I'm still very curious to see.
Carry out.
You always sound like you're tired every day. You know, I used to look at pictures of Tegan and Sarah very often. Oh, figure. Jafufu. Man, I know what the fans call her. The tightest tiger. What the frick? I wanna play Yinari. Which reminds me, you know, I should, well, I didn't stretch my back recently.
Throwing grenade. Incendiary.
Frick.
Terrorists win.
Oh yeah, and I didn't see like a gathering of Fuzzies in the Philippines.
Kia kia kia. Mà kia.
Throwing smoke. Fire in the hole.
They're here. Banana.
Chịu. Hai. Là một nữa đen, còn lại đấy thôi. Bị hai chú.
Bomb has been planted.
Một đăng, một chuối.
Terrorists win.
Dùng cái câu bắn đi.
Throwing flashbang. Flashbang. Laying down smoke. Throwing smoke. Grenade out. Incendiary out. Decoys out.
What are you doing? Idiot.
Bắn anh nha. Bắn anh nha không nào. Bom kìa. Mai về giữa đi Mai, tôi giữ lâu kìa. Đừng cho vô ách.
One middle. Upper mid.
Hai.
Upper mid.
Lòng.
Wish me.
Mid, upper. Good job. Wow, he's out of ammo.
Trai ơi. Kể đi. Bolo.
Sorry. Oh no. No, that's really cute. I love that. Man, I'm so skinny, I can...
Bro, go back. Hey, bro.
I'm so skinny, you know. Maybe like Sparkle.
Fire in the hole. Deploying decoy.
Idiot, fuck you.
Throwing flashbang.
It reminds me... It reminds me of, GB Fillion. I remember this. Yeah, you know, she said, HK416s are American, but they're actually German. Made by Heckler and Koch.
Now, chat! Who here wants a piece of the champion? I'm gonna take the shot. Check this out. Yeet! Call of Duty. Dolphin dive. Oh! Put the money in the bag, chat. Now! I don't give a frick about your rules. Chat! Give me all of your money now. Let me recalibrate. T-pose. I need fruit snacks. I need, this is the Fillion rocket jump. I need a rocket ship. I need a ball of string.
Mommy.
Deck. I want a tech deck. You guys are gonna be in trouble when I get back. Now, chat.
Chibidoki. Man, I remember my first. Was both at event. Stay wrong.
Throwing grenade. Incendiary. area.
2nd có. 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 2nd Learn.
I push you. I push you. I
No,
push
no,
you.
no, 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 no.
Decoy. Bomb has been planted.
Oh. I like the one where she had the knife.
Smoke. Throwing fire.
Meow meow.
Throwing flashbang. Flashbang. Grenade out. Throwing fire.
Bomb banana.
Grenade out. Decoys out. Throwing smoke.
Idiot.
Pick me up.
Pick me up! Pick me up! Pick me up! God dang it! I want to be tall! That's it! You little frick! You thought I couldn't find you up here? And now we're the same exact size. Pick
Wood. Blue.
Okay, most.
Highway.
Good job.
Counter-terrorists win.
Wait, what? Jimmy! What is she doing? Okay, chat. She didn't remember she's not wearing sunglasses. Why are her eyes more 3D than her chest? She's having taken a peek, bro. Wait, what? Jimmy! What is she doing? Okay, chat.
Throwing fire. Deploying flashbang. Incendiary. Laying down smoke. Flashbang. Smoke. Deploying decoy. Fire.
You know, there's one thing I don't like about
Go
no.
A! Go A!
There's one. There's one thing I
Please,
don't.
bro!
There's one thing I don't like about ZZZ.
Go
The
A, please. I
the
kill you.
đéo hò đâu.
the you know, oversized chests.
Decoy.
And you know, maybe other people like that, but I don't.
Deploying flashbang. Grenade out. Grenade. Throwing grenade. Incendiary.
Like
Lâu.
disproportionate.
Hay. Lâu.
Dummy. Good job.
Terrorists win. Oh yeah. Bingo, bango, bongo.
But I think I do have a favorite. You know, it used to be Eren Joe. What's her name? What's her name? Each one. Okay. I think this is my favorite at the moment. And maybe it's because of the eyes. She reminds me of Kojusara because of that, because of the eyes. You know, I think she's my favorite currently. Just because of aesthetics. Oh, she even has a, what's that? Yeah, that's very Sarah. Excuse me. Meow meow meow. Those are nice looking bell peppers.
Are you girl or boy?
I'm a grown man.
I'm lady boy.
I like to watch that. I'm not lady, I'm lady boy.
You boy, bro. You boy.
I'm not lady, I'm lady boy. Paham. Three. 3B.
Apakah kamu punya peler?
In the northeastern Caribbean sits a mountainous island called Puerto Rico, or as the Taino called it, Borican meaning land of the valiant Lord. Between Hispaniola and the Virgin Islands, it guards the doorway to the Greater Antilles like a stone lion at the entrance of the Caribbean palace. Before Spain imagined it, before the forts and cannons, this island was Taino land. Hammocks swung, cassava baked, and diplomacy was handled not by lawyers but by the noble ball game, a sport where honor was on the line and nobody yelled at referees because there weren't any. In 1493, Columbus returned to the Caribbean on his second voyage, bigger ships, bigger expectations, and definitely declared the Republic of Puerto Rico. The rebellion collapsed. Puerto Rico lacked the extreme plantation industrial brutality plus economy plus mixing. So the categories existed, but the social enforcement was looser and the boundaries more permeable. Spanish caste system, everyone gets a category. British system, 2 categories, white and problem. Puerto Rico, categories exist but everyone's cousins. In the 1800s, Puerto Rico experimented with coffee and sugar. Coffee thrived, sugar survived. The island produced more beans than kings. Slavery existed but never dominated. Puerto Rico lacked the extreme plantation industrial brutality seen in Cuba and San Domingue, but it was still slavery. Haiti proved Europeans could be defeated, slavery could be destroyed, and self-sovereignty could be built all from a Caribbean island. Dominican Republic proved Spain was beatable. Puerto Rico staged its first independence rebellion. On September 23, 1868, patriots unfurled the flag and declared the Republic of Puerto Rico. The rebellion collapsed within hours, but ideas live longer than governments. Puerto Rico's 1868 rebellion fought for both independence and abolition. Independence was the political goal. Abolition was the moral and strategic partner. It wasn't Haiti-style emancipation war or DR-style political war. It was an alliance of both goals against Spain. Puerto Rico claimed independence before Cuba. While PR had a 10-hour republic, Cuba had a 10-year war. During Cuba's war, Spain was pressured by the United States after 1865, not through direct commands, but through U.S. abolition making Spain look archaic. U.S. diplomatic and moral influence in Caribbean politics, U.S. support for Cuban separatists. Spain in 1873, fine, We'll end slavery, but no independence that costs extra. Caribbean. Nice try, Empire. And in 1873, Spain finally abolished slavery, one of the last acts of its Caribbean empire. Puerto Rico became the test case to remove abolition from the table without conceding independence. Meanwhile, Cuba was fighting Spain for independence. The USS Maine was stationed in Havana Harbor to protect U.S. interests, but it mysteriously exploded.
Sorry.
Spain was blamed. In 1898, the United States declared war on Spain. After the Spanish-American War, Spain ceded Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines to the United States. Puerto Rico was not asked for an opinion, only a surrender. When the treaty was signed, Puerto Rico passed from one empire to another like a monopoly property nobody landed on voluntarily. Spain abolished slavery in Puerto Rico partly to avoid losing Puerto Rico to separatism and U.S. influence. Yet 25 years later, the U.S. took Puerto Rico anyway. The U.S. kept the Spanish defensive logic intact. Puerto Rico became a strategic naval base for the future Panama Canal. The Four-Acre Act invented the term unincorporated territory, a category vague enough to require annual interpretation. In 1917, Puerto Ricans became U.S. citizens, and the island became key in the First World War recruitment and maritime law. In the 1930s to 1950s, Puerto Rican nationalism collided with U.S. colonial policy. Pedro Albizu Campos was the president of the Nationalist Party of Puerto Rico. He was arrested for seditious conspiracy, officially for plotting revolution, but in truth for leading Puerto Rico's independence movement. He was the kind of leader empires fear, educated, disciplined, charismatic, and unbuyable. Albizu was not jailed for bombs, but for ideas. The United States did not fear his rifle, it feared his republic. In 1937, Puerto Rican Nationalist Party organized a peaceful march to commemorate the abolition of slavery in Puerto Rico by the governing Spanish National Assembly in 1873 and protest the arrest of Pedro Albizu Campos. Police fired into a peaceful nationalist march in Ponce, killing 19 and wounding over 200. None of the civilians were armed, and most of the dead were reportedly shot in their backs. It was called the Ponce Massacre because all the synonyms were too gentle. In 1950, uprisings in Jayuya and Utuado declared the republic again. This time, the National Guard deployed planes and bombed Jayuya, making Puerto Rico one of the few places in the Americas bombed by its own government. In 1952, Puerto Rico became a commonwealth, a political invention halfway between colony, state, and riddle. Commonwealth is what you create when no one agrees on independence or statehood, and Congress refuses to pick. After 1952, the island's central question became independence, statehood, enhanced commonwealth. Referendums came, referendums went. Congress observed politely, Puerto Rico did not win independence, but it won something harder. It stayed itself. It kept its language, its flag, its mixture, its music, its mountain towns, its diaspora, and its humor. Few islands can survive 4 centuries of empire and still sing in their own voice. 5 centuries produced a people forged from Taino resilience, African endurance, Spanish militarism, and European migrations, European fathers, Taino
Philippines is also lucky.
the genetic signature of a soldier labor colony. Puerto Rico never became the sugar baron of the Caribbean. It became something rarer, a fortress surrounded by farmers, ruled by empires, and carried forward by people who refused to disappear. Empires arrived expecting gold. Puerto Rico delivered resistors, coffee, political debates, and a status question that no empire has solved in 500 years. Across the Americas, mixture often came with fracture, caste against caste, color against color, revolutions against republics. Puerto Rico did something rarer. It turned conquest into kinship, labor into lineage, and 3 continents into a single people who call themselves Boricua. That is Puerto Rican pride, the pride of continuity.
What the freak is this? more fear-mongering.
Si Caldereta ayos UFC ready recipes.
Puerto Rico is paradise, beaches, lush mountains, and a rich culture. But beneath the beauty, something is very wrong. In 2006, nearly 4 million people lived here. By 2100, it'll be 1 million. That is insane. Puerto Rico, a US territory but not a state, is the poorest, most unequal part of the United States, and it's in freefall. A 20-year economic crisis, austerity, hurricanes, earthquakes, and a pandemic hit the island hard. And instead of help rebuilding, Puerto Ricans got skyrocketing costs, privatized services, and mass displacement. But here's the thing, Puerto Rico isn't poor. It made American tycoons rich off sugar, then it became a shining star of development, one of the richest places in the Americas, the Caribbean's manufacturing powerhouse, pumping out life-saving medicines and medical equipment. But all that wealth was drained off the island. Since 2006, 15% of Puerto Ricans have left. Puerto Rico now has the 7th oldest population on Earth. The tax base is shrinking as young people flee while more and more people enter retirement. Puerto Rico's birth rate is the 7th lowest in the world. It's lower than Japan's. Nearly half the population lives below the poverty line. And despite paying more for electricity than anywhere else in the United States, rolling blackouts frequently plunge Puerto Rico into darkness for weeks, if not months at a time. In order to resolve its $123 billion debt since 2016, Puerto Rico hasn't even been ruled by its own government. An unelected fiscal control board, nicknamed La Junta, handpicked by the US president, calls the shots. And Puerto Ricans, despite being US citizens, can't vote for the president that appoints them. The local government has sold out the country as a paradise for the ultra-rich.
Dorado, Puerto Rico, and I bought this $16 million house.
Now, real estate tycoons, YouTubers, and crypto traders have flocked to the island in their thousands to live in a sunny US territory while paying no taxes. Puerto Rico without Puerto Ricans is arriving fast, and this is the story of how we got here.
The timeless surf pounds this Caribbean shoreline of what Christopher Columbus dubbed El Puerto Rico.
This is Puerto Rico, called Boriquen in the original Taino language, which is why Puerto Ricans call themselves Boricuas. Now you might be wondering why this island, all the way over here, is part of the United States. For over 400 years, Puerto Rico was a Spanish colony with no political autonomy.
Que Colón descubrió estas tierras, vinieron y se apoderaron de las tierras que había aquí. Y no tan solo se apoderaron de la tierra, sino que esclavizaron a sus verdaderos dueños, a los indios. Pues se fue desarrollando la agricultura. Durante la época de España aquí se desarrolló una gran industria del café, sobre todo, ¿no?
But by the late 1800s, things were changing. In 1897, growing anger with Spanish rule fueled independence movements in Cuba and Puerto Rico. Faced with mounting resistance, Spain finally caved, granting both islands limited self-rule with elected parliaments. Puerto Ricans finally got a taste of freedom. Just a few months later, the US declared war on Spain. Spain, which was an old, decrepit and dying empire, quickly lost the war, and in the 1898 Treaty of Paris handed Puerto Rico, Guam and the Philippines to the United States, while Cuba became an independent country under strict American oversight. From that moment on, Puerto Rico would be an American colony, a valuable military outpost in the Caribbean. In Washington, lawmakers weren't exactly sure what to do with Puerto Rico. Should they grant it independence, make it a state, or keep it in limbo. Eventually, limbo won out, as American lawmakers didn't want to grant equal rights to savages addicted to headhunting and cannibalism. The Insular Cases, a series of Supreme Court rulings, cemented Puerto Rico's status as an unincorporated territory that belonged to, but was not part of, the United States. This allowed the US to rule over Puerto Rico without granting its people full constitutional rights. Puerto Rico was forbidden from negotiating trade treaties with foreign nations or setting its own taxes and tariffs.
By the way, I'm just listening to this, but I'm not gonna pretend to be very knowledgeable.
Puerto Ricans were subject to US taxation without representation in Congress. The island was forced into the US tariff system. There was now tariff-free trade between Puerto Rico and the United States, making Puerto Rican sugar highly profitable for American refiners, as it could enter the US tariff-free, unlike sugar from a foreign country like Cuba. But this destroyed Puerto Rico's other industries. The island's main export was coffee, grown by self-sufficient farmers who had exported their beans to Europe through Spain. But now its exports were subject to tariffs Europeans placed on US goods. Cheaper Brazilian beans rapidly took over the market, and Puerto Rican beans couldn't compete in the US market, which was already dominated by Brazil. Puerto Rico's coffee industry, once the fourth largest in the world, collapsed, along with the livelihoods of thousands of farmers. In 1900, the US appointed Charles Herbert Allen from Massachusetts as Puerto Rico's governor. As governor, he raised taxes on Puerto Ricans and denied them loans to develop their own industry, while subsidizing American-owned farms, and he handed over
LOL. And yeah, to think that that's what most Filipinos want. Just because the title of US citizen sounds good.
Tons of government offices to high-paid Americans. Hurricane San Ciriaco devastated the island's coffee crop in 1899. A year later, Allen refused to distribute relief funds. Then in 1900, the US brought in a property tax on the value of property. American banks decided the value of the property. American-owned land was appraised low, meaning those owners paid almost no tax. Puerto Rican farmers, well, their land was appraised high, and their tax bills exploded. The farmers reeling from the hurricane and penniless were forced to sell their land. And guess who bought that land on the cheap? American sugar companies. Governor Charles Herbert Allen spent just 17 months setting this all up in Puerto Rico. Then he resigned, and he went straight to Wall Street and started building a sugar empire. He and his business partners snatched up the very land he had helped seize from Puerto Rican farmers, and he got lots of help from all those men he had placed in positions of power. By 1920, Allen and US bankers had converted nearly half of all arable land in Puerto Rico into sugar plantations owned by American corporations. Thousands of once self-sufficient Puerto Rican farmers were kicked off their land. Now they worked as landless wage laborers, paid starvation wages on plantations on the land that they had been displaced from. While Wall Street made millions, sugarcane workers on the island earned just 75 cents a day, less than half of what they made under the Spanish. What was once land used to grow a diverse range of crops and food was transformed into a sugar monoculture for export. Hunger became rampant. By 1907, Charles Herbert Allen's American Sugar Refining Company was the largest sugar syndicate in the world. Today, it's called Domino Sugar. The profits from Puerto Rico's sugar industry flowed directly to the United States, with no reinvestment in the local economy. The work of Puerto Ricans helped to develop the US while their home remained stagnant. Without capital, Puerto Ricans couldn't build their own industries. A local middle class never emerged, and the island remained economically stunted. This was a textbook colonial economy. Puerto Rico's entire economy was redirected to produce what it did not consume, sugar, and was forced to import everything else from its colonizer. The island existed solely to fuel American industry and to purchase American goods. As it was put in 1929, the American flag flies over a prosperous factory worked by slaves, who have lost their land and may soon lose their guitars and their songs. Puerto Rico is now a land of beggars and millionaires. In 1917, Puerto Ricans were granted US citizenship, but there was a catch. They couldn't vote in US elections, but they could be drafted, just in time for the United States to enter the First World War. In 1920, the US imposed this, the Jones Act. It mandates that any goods shipped between two US ports must travel on vessels that are built in the US, owned by US citizens, and crewed by US residents. A ship can transport goods from Santiago, Chile to Miami, but if it wants to pick up more goods in Miami to bring to New York, which is the most economical thing to do, it would have to transfer everything to a US-owned ship. Puerto Rico is right next to major shipping routes. The logical way to get goods there would be for cargo ships to stop on their way to the mainland US, drop some stuff off, and pick up new stuff. But because of the Jones Act, ships dropped their goods off in Jacksonville, Florida. Then, 4 US shipping companies who monopolized this route and were convicted of price fixing jack up the prices before sending those goods to Puerto Rico. Shipping a container from the US East Coast to Puerto Rico on a Jones Act ship costs about $3,000. Shipping that same container to the Dominican Republic right next door on a non-Jones Act ship costs $1,500. The Jones Act inflates prices across the island when people earn a third of the mainland wage. This also makes Puerto Rico's goods more expensive to export, making them less competitive. The Jones Act costs Puerto Rico $1.4 billion a year, and that might be a low estimate. The nearby US Virgin Islands are exempt from the Jones Act, and goods there cost half as much as in Puerto Rico. After the US systematically dismantled Puerto Rico's agricultural sector, the lush, green, fertile island now imports nearly all of its food from the United States. Food in Puerto Rico costs twice as much as it does in Florida, and now about 40% of Puerto Ricans are estimated to be food insecure, 4 times the national average. Now, you may be wondering, if this law is so bad, why doesn't the US Congress just repeal it? Well, lobbying groups for American shipping companies have a lot more influence over Congress than Puerto Ricans who have no political voice. During the 1930s and the 1940s, the United States brutally suppressed Puerto Rico's independence movement through massacres, the criminalization of the Puerto Rican flag, and the arrest of thousands of Puerto Ricans and the murder of independence leaders. To quell dissent, the US government collaborated with anti-independence groups to enact limited reforms.
In 1952, the colonial status was modified to become the Commonwealth, a free associated
Meow, meow, meow.
Under the Commonwealth, Puerto Ricans can elect their own legislature, but the laws passed in Puerto Rico can be overturned by the United States Congress.
These measures, though, did not grant real sovereignty. The island remained a US territory. It was not allowed to become a state, and they still couldn't vote in US elections, and they still can't today. After World War II, global sugar prices collapsed. Puerto Rico, one of the poorest places in the Caribbean, had to radically transform its economy. In the 1940s, they started Operation Bootstrap, eliminating all corporate taxes to encourage US investment in order to industrialize the island. This triggered a massive influx of American businesses that set up factories to benefit from extremely cheap Puerto Rican labor, with tariff-free access to the US market and no tax bill. Puerto Rico rapidly industrialized, turning into a hub for manufacturing garments, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, machinery and electronics. Between 1950 and 1971, per capita income rose by over 400%. Illiteracy was largely eliminated and life expectancy jumped from 46 years to 70 years. In 1976, the US Congress brought in Section 936, which allowed these US companies to repatriate all of their profits back to the US tax-free. Puerto Rico became one of the world's leading producers of pharmaceuticals and still is, generating
Nice.
billions in profits for American firms.
You know, I say nice because, you know, it's always good when pharmaceuticals are being manufactured, but then, you know, economically speaking, you know, for the people.
But this industrial boom came at a terrible cost. American pharmaceutical companies use Puerto Rican women as test subjects for unapproved contraceptive drugs without their consent. At the same time, American eugenicists pushed for the mass sterilization of Puerto Rican women.
As part of a plan to reduce the population problem on the island.
By 1974, 1 in 3 Puerto Rican women had been sterilized, many against their will.
So common is the method that it is simply known as la operación.
What's wrong with sterilization and what has been wrong in the way it's been done in Puerto Rico is that very often women have not been informed.
42% of the women working in one factory outside San Juan were found to have been sterilized.
Puerto Rico had the highest sterilization rate in the world. Meanwhile, the island was
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. How about you?
poisoned for profit. Puerto Rico became riddled with over 500 Superfund sites. Superfunds are toxic sites filled with chemical waste. Companies like AbbVie, Merck, Pfizer and Upjohn dumped toxic chemicals like carbon tetrachloride, chloroform and acetonitril directly into the soil and water, while the US military used Puerto Rico as a testing site, leaving behind napalm, Agent Orange and depleted uranium. Residents of the island of Vieques have a 20% higher cancer rate than the mainland US. Children born near these Superfund sites suffer from higher rates of leukemia, seizures, learning disabilities and neurological damage. Puerto Rico's transformation stunned the world. Countries like Ireland and Singapore looked at Puerto Rico's rapid industrialization and took notes. They studied how the island attracted foreign investment. They saw how manufacturing and tax incentives could fuel an economy. But there was one huge difference. Ireland and Singapore have sovereignty. They can control their own economic policies. As a colony, Puerto Rico couldn't. For example, they couldn't repeal the Jones Act to make themselves more competitive or to make prices in the island lower. Puerto Rico can't make trade deals with other independent countries. They can't even hire or lower the minimum wage because that's set by the US Congress. Ireland and Singapore kept much of the wealth they produced. They reinvested it to create better jobs, to improve infrastructure and to develop new industries. Puerto Rico couldn't turn this system into genuine economic development. This system simply used Puerto Ricans as permanent, low-wage labor for US corporations, improving their global competitiveness. Since Puerto Rican firms didn't get the same tax benefits, they also couldn't compete with US firms. The profit created by Puerto Rican workers drained out to the United States. US corporations extracted $334 billion in profits between just 2008 and 2017. Puerto Rico is one of only 3 places in the world that lose more than 30% of the income generated within their territories. The other 2 are Equatorial Guinea and Iraq. In 1996, Bill Clinton and Congress ordered the phase out of Puerto Rico's tax exemptions and set them to expire by 2006. Around the same time, the United States signed the NAFTA and CAFTA trade agreements. One of Puerto Rico's key advantages has always been that it has tariff-free access to the US market, but NAFTA and CAFTA extended tariff-free trade to other countries in the region with much lower wages, erasing Puerto Rico's competitive advantage. The impact was devastating. Thousands of factories closed and hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans were left jobless. The economy collapsed. Desperate to cut costs around 2009,
they've hiked sales taxes, corporate taxes, and income taxes. Utility rates are up dramatically. Some water bills have doubled. And to cut costs, government workers have been laid off, their retirement benefits cut sharply.
But these austerity measures weren't enough. The island simply didn't have the cash to continue to pay for basic services. Unlike an independent country, Puerto Rico, who uses the dollar, can't print more money. They can't restructure their economy, and they can't borrow money from international financial institutions like the IMF. Puerto Rico did, however, have bonds. Bonds are essentially an IOU sold to investors with a promise of payment plus interest. Since 1917, Puerto Rican bonds have been unique. They are triple tax exempt, which means they have no federal, no state, and no local taxes, which makes them extremely attractive to investors. Even as Puerto Rico remained in a deep recession, Wall Street investors continued to buy more and more Puerto Rican bonds. They felt extremely secure in their investment because in 1984, the US Congress quietly passed a law that made it illegal for Puerto Rico to declare bankruptcy. Investors assumed that they would get paid no matter what. As the 2008 financial crisis hit, Puerto Rico's economy continued to nosedive, and the government issued more and more bonds just to cover basic expenses, and their debt was beginning to crush them. For example, in 2011, Puerto Rico sold $1.1 billion in bonds, of which $850 million was used to pay previous debts. In 2017, they raised their 7% sales tax to 11.5%, making it the highest sales tax in the United States, and every single cent of that tax went to paying debt. By 2017, Puerto Rico's debt had skyrocketed to $74 billion, or $123 billion including pension obligations. Wall Street, knowing that Puerto Rico had limited options, was extremely predatory with the loans they offered. A huge chunk, about $37.8 billion of that $74 billion debt, came from capital appreciation bonds. These are essentially the payday loan version of bonds. The original principal on those loans was just $4.3 billion. The remaining $33.5 billion is pure interest. In 2014, Puerto Rican bonds were declared junk, and the island lost the ability to borrow any more money. In 2015, Puerto Rico tried to pass a law which would allow it to restructure its debt. The US Supreme Court struck that law down, and so the economy continued to crash. On June 28, 2015, a debt repayment bill of $58 million was due. Puerto Rico couldn't pay it. The governor was forced to publicly declare the debts are not payable.
And let me put this very clear. We are out of cash.
As Puerto Rico spiraled into the crisis, vulture funds swooped in. Vulture funds are firms that specialize in profiting off financial collapse. They buy a country's debt for pennies on the dollar from bondholders who have written it off as a loss. They then drag the indebted country into court, almost always in New York, to demand full repayment, squeezing massive returns from crippled economies. Vulture funds have infamously drained Greece, Argentina, the Congo, and other indebted countries of billions. The investor Paul Singer of Elliott Management, known as the Doomsday Investor, sued Argentina and won a 1,380% return on their original investment. In the war-torn Congo, in order to collect $10 million worth of debt that he bought, Singer started seizing about $400 million worth of the poor nation's assets. In Peru in the year 2000, as their president Alberto Fujimori fled charges of corruption and human rights abuses, Paul Singer offered him a private plane to escape on, but first he had to transfer $58 million from the nation's treasury to Singer, which he did. In 2015, Puerto Rico proposed a bill to the US Congress asking them to allow some of their public corporations.
Man, you know what? Shit. That's a lot of money, but yo, that's very immoral. Very immoral. But if you put it this way, you know, you're getting money from an administration, not really the populace. But whatever, man.
Like the island
Still immoral.
To declare bankruptcy. This would give the island some breathing room by allowing it to restructure about a...
You know, I guess I never want to engage in that kind of stuff. I mean, stock market is good, but hearing about the vulture stuff, man, I wouldn't want to be known to be doing that.
A third of its debt. Even some of Puerto Rico's creditors agreed with this, thinking that it would free up some cash to pay back the rest of the debt, but the vultures wanted every last cent. These funds were already making huge donations to the Hillary Clinton, the Chris Christie, and the Marco Rubio presidential campaigns, alongside lobbying other politicians. The calls came in, and the bill died. After this, the vulture started buying up even more Puerto Rican debt. Forbes reported that in 2015, these vulture funds controlled nearly 50% of Puerto Rico's debt. In 2016, to ensure that creditors got paid, the US Congress passed PROMESA, which imposed on Puerto Rico a fiscal management and oversight board, an unelected, unaccountable board whose only mission was to get Puerto Rico back to repaying its debts and back into a position where it could borrow money. It's known locally as La Junta because the board has absolute power and can overrule any Puerto Rican law. La Junta's 7 members are handpicked by the US president with no input from Puerto Ricans. Despite being imposed by the US Congress, it is Puerto Ricans who will foot the $1.5 billion bill for La Junta. La Junta's executive director earns $625,000 a year, which is about 30 times the median Puerto Rican household income. Many of the people assigned to La Junta have connections to the financial world, many of whom helped to create the debt crisis in the first place. Now their job was to extract every last cent from working Puerto Ricans for the next 40 years. To ensure that Wall Street and the vultures got paid, La Junta imposed a brutal austerity program on Puerto Rico that hiked tolls, water and electricity costs, lowered the minimum wage, cut labour protections and removed sick days, slashed education funding which led to mass school closures, gutted pensions and healthcare, cut infrastructure funding and restricted access to food assistance. Puerto Ricans already tried austerity in 2009 and 2010. It only made things worse, forcing more Puerto Ricans to leave to the US, shrinking the economy even further. The way out of economic decline tends to be growth and investment, not cuts. La Junta, however, insisted on driving down costs and prioritising faster debt repayments, especially to vulture funds, all while Puerto Rico rotted away.
You have to evacuate, otherwise you're gonna die.
Hurricane Maria, a Category 4 storm, winds of at least 155 miles.
Category 5 with sustained winds of
Hurricane
260
Maria
kilometers
slamming
per
into the
hour.
island, and as you heard, one official saying the island is destroyed.
I am begging anyone that can hear us to save us from dying. If anybody out there is listening to us,
this morning, harrowing accounts of survival are emerging after Hurricane Maria's devastating blow to Puerto Rico.
Roads, now rivers, homes demolished. 4 million residents here are without power. 100% of the island. Officials warn it could be months before electricity is restored.
Vino el viento, se llevó todo el zinc, se llevó la casa con toda la pertenencia, todo lo que había dentro.
The hurricane, they say, was a problem. The greater tragedy is the lack of government action.
There's a lot of old people here in Puerto Rico. They need help. You know, it's we can't let them die. We can't let them die.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack.
On the 20th of September 2017, Hurricane Maria slammed into Puerto Rico, burying entire towns. The island's infrastructure, crippled by years of austerity, collapsed. 500,000 homes were destroyed or damaged, and the entire power grid was destroyed. The federal government's response was slow and inept. President Trump refused to waive the Jones Act until the 28th of September, which delayed the response and increased costs.
So why hasn't the government issued a waiver for the so-called Jones Act, as it did to help Florida and Texas recover from hurricanes?
We have a lot of shippers and a lot of people that work in the shipping industry that don't want the Jones Act lifted.
When it was finally waived, it was only for 10 days. 9 days after Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, FEMA had approved $141.8 million in aid. 9 days after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, FEMA had approved just $6.2 million. The United States was slow in deploying helicopters and hospital ships for weeks, while victims of the storm fought to survive one of the deadliest hurricanes in American history. Abandoned communities in Puerto Rico had no power, food, water, gas, or medicine. People were forced to drink water from toxic Superfund sites. Ordinary Puerto Ricans came together in brigades to clear roads, deliver food and water.
Along the way, we come across a caravan of more than 100 volunteers, all church members, who are traveling across the island distributing food and water.
Meanwhile, FEMA, the US military, and the local government failed to reach...
Damn, no, that's a very dangerous placement of house.
Isolated communities weeks.
And water.
Meanwhile, FEMA, the US military, and the local government failed to reach isolated communities for weeks. It took a full year to restore electricity to the entire island. 2 weeks.
Well, I'm just gonna say dangerous looking, at least to me. I mean, I'm no expert. Hold on, let me... I think I'm gonna get some water. Hold on.
It is the 41st millennium. For 10,000 years, the Imperium has dominated the galaxy. There is only war. Every human soul, from the most highborn lord to the most basic servant,
Oh, I missed it. But you know, I'm not interested in the intro movie.
After the disaster, President Donald Trump visited Puerto Rico and infamously tossed paper towels at hurricane victims. As thousands of Puerto Ricans were fighting for survival, he said, Puerto Ricans want everything done for them. After Hurricane Harvey, Trump told Texans,
To those Americans who have lost loved ones, all of America is grieving with you, and our hearts are joined with yours forever. We are here with you today. We are with you tomorrow, and we will be with you every single day after.
After Hurricane Maria, Trump tweeted at Puerto Ricans, his fellow Americans, we can't keep FEMA in Puerto Rico forever. FEMA usually stays in disaster areas for years. Trump said this just weeks after the disaster, while people were still searching for their missing loved ones. Hurricane Maria killed over 3,000 Puerto Ricans. The hurricane didn't kill most victims though. The deaths came from a systemic collapse that followed. Ambulances couldn't reach the injured, unsafe water made people sick, and communities went months without electricity to power medical equipment or safely store medicine like insulin. The vultures began to circle again. The firm Golden Tree bought millions in Puerto Rican debt for 15 cents on the dollar in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. They'll make about $160 million off that investment, which Puerto Ricans will pay for. After Hurricane Maria and a series of earthquakes in 2020, Puerto Ricans were just trying to survive. While they were distracted, La Junta moved to privatize all of Puerto Rico's public assets. Tolls, ferries, PREPA, which is the island's power authority, were all handed over to private corporations, with no vote, no oversight, but with massive price increases. In 2021, Luma Energy took over Puerto Rico's energy grid under a 15-year contract that required no investment from Luma, but required PREPA to pay Luma $125 million a year. Luma fired experienced workers, dismissed union contracts, and raised energy rates 7 times. Despite Puerto Ricans handing over hundreds of millions of dollars to Luma, outages are now longer and more frequent than they were under PREPA even after Hurricane Maria. Half of the island went dark on New Year's 2024, soon after a price increase. This is the price of electricity in the US over the last 10 years. This is Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans pay around double the US rate for electricity. This is a major obstacle to economic recovery. High electricity rates drive up business costs, they drain household incomes, and they make basic survival difficult.
Hace 8 meses que estamos sin luz, no tenemos agua, estamos prácticamente abandonados porque nadie ha venido a agencias de gobierno, no ha venido nadie. Necesitamos el servicio eléctrico porque yo soy asmático, mi hijo es asmático. Ella es cardíaca, diabética, necesita la energía eléctrica para el medicamento, para la insulina.
Puerto Rico's energy grid is based on oil and gas, but the island has no oil or gas, forcing it to import fuel on expensive Jones Act ships. Solar and...
Wow, I haven't opened this in a very long time. And you know, I'm already reminded of why I don't really like this game. You see how many times it loaded. And the loading times are freaking long.
And wind energy are abundant on the island. After Hurricane Maria, communities with solar power had electricity for months, while everyone else was in the dark.
We were extremely happy to learn the solar system in Casa Pueblo was intact. We were the only place in town with power, and we were able to be a source of energy for the community.
There is a massive movement on the island demanding to rebuild a grid based on renewables, which would create a more reliable and...
Wow. That's very nice to see, solar panels.
Safer energy grid while reducing costs, creating jobs and helping pay down the debt. As of 2025, only 7% of Puerto Rico's grid is renewable because importing oil and gas is far more profitable for American energy companies, so the grid is being rebuilt on the same expensive, unreliable fossil fuel system that has already failed. Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico's public education system, causing hundreds of millions in damage. After the storm, locals rushed to help clear away the debris and save books and equipment. Governor Ricardo Rosselló and La Junta rewarded them with massive layoffs and closures, shutting down over 670 schools. Only 800 schools remain open. Families were forced to move to closer schools, which were now overcrowded and underfunded. As Puerto Rico's public education system was...
Then I miss my wolf shirt. I wonder what happened to it. Maybe it was already thrown away. Anyway, you know, I had a wolf shirt, and then one of the girls from college also had one. I had the white one, and she had the black one, but with the same wolf image, the wolf snarl image. And then one time I told her, no, let's wear the wolf shirt on Wednesday. And you know, I didn't really have a class then. I didn't come. The next time she saw me, she punched me. Because I wasn't. But you know, we're not that close. We played together in a band for one gig. And that was it. And we're not really close. But you know, he came from a small college, you know, I just crossing road. Anyway, whatever.
Dismantled, for-profit charter schools were forced on the island. Charter schools take on fewer disabled and poor students, they have lower graduation rates, and they force...
Oh yeah, and I had an online BF. He was a dog furry.
Family
so yeah, indeed.
the debt at much greater rates. Charter schools do, however, benefit people who own Puerto Rican debt. Apollo Education Group, a for-profit school corporation and target of many federal investigations, owns Puerto Rican debt. Puerto Rico's education system has been dismantled on an island where over 50% of children live in poverty, cutting Puerto Rico's future off at the knees, forcing many families that want a good education to leave the island. Unlike for-profit schools, the University of Puerto Rico has the best graduation rate on the island. With 64% of its students coming from low-income backgrounds, the UPR is vital.
You see how long this is taking? That's why I don't like it. It's just like a... It's just like Left 4 Dead, but with a Warhammer 40k theme.
In raising people into the middle class. Rather than rebuilding this crucial asset, La Junta slashed its budget by 50% and raised tuition by 300%. This despite the fact that research has shown that every $1 million invested in the university yielded a return of $1.6 million. Enroll.
So I know I'm very cliche. So I used to want to be a cat. Then I wanted to be a fox. Oh yeah, I remember one thing I like about this game. The combat shotgun doesn't have a very big spread. I like that. Yeah, combat shotgun. What the frick? Oh, see? I hate that. Oh, that was quick. I know, I think, where is it? Of course, I don't wanna spend real money. Don't wanna spend real money, but I wanna look at what they have in store. And I really have to turn down the graphics. Excuse me, because I think my GPU is the one that's really getting strained by this game.
Enrollment has plummeted, and fields critical to Puerto Rico's recovery, medicine, engineering and law, were gutted. Its neurosurgery program lost accreditation due to a lack of funding. Puerto Rico used to have the best healthcare outcomes in Latin America. Its public healthcare was free to nearly everyone on the island. In 1993, the governor Pedro Rosselló privatized Puerto Rico's public healthcare system, much like how his son Ricardo Rosselló sold off Puerto Rico's education system. The results have been disastrous. Puerto Rico pays into Social Security and Medicare like any US state, but when it comes to healthcare funding, Puerto Rico receives a fraction of what US states receive. Insurance companies frequently refuse to reimburse already low-paid doctors. Puerto Rico pays to train specialists who then leave for better-paying jobs in the States. In 2009, there were 14,500 doctors on the island. Today, there are 9,000 to serve 3.2 million people. Puerto Ricans suffer higher rates of asthma, diabetes, heart disease, HIV/AIDS, and preterm births than any US state. Between 2001 and 2025, Puerto Rico's population shrank by 15%. By 2050, it's projected it will decline by 40%. Hundreds of thousands of working-age adults gone, driven out by economic collapse, austerity and rising costs. They leave because they have no choice. Puerto Rico is aging. Waiting rooms of underfunded clinics overflow with anxious seniors, and the few young people who stay behind struggle to find financial stability. They have fewer children than almost anywhere else on Earth. This shrinks the tax base, stunting any possible economic growth. More people of Puerto Rican descent live on the mainland US than on the island. Puerto Rican workers earn much less than their counterparts do in the States, despite a high cost of living and fewer federal benefits. Even after Bill Clinton's repeal of Section 936, Puerto Rico still offers massive tax breaks to corporations. Manufacturers, mostly big pharma companies, extracted $100 billion in tax breaks from 2017 to 2023. But now the government is begging the ultra-wealthy to come live on the island. A law at 60 offers wealthy...
Didn't they just mention the lack of good benefits on that island?
Americans tax exemptions from federal and local taxes, capital gains tax, and taxes on passive income. This offer is not available to locals.
Yes, but crypto millionaires are flocking to Puerto Rico. That's because if you spend at least half the year on the island, you're free of taxes on capital gains. What a deal.
The result is that the ultra-rich have swooped down to Puerto Rico to buy cheap land from Puerto Ricans devastated by Hurricane Maria and years of austerity.
So we had a big hurricane in 2017, and that was amazing for the island.
Brock Pierce, crypto...
What the frick? Can you say that again?
At least half the year on the island, you're free of taxes on capital gains. What a deal.
The result is that the ultra-rich have swooped down to Puerto Rico to buy cheap land from Puerto Ricans devastated by Hurricane Maria and years of austerity.
So we had a big hurricane in 2017, and that was amazing for the island.
Brock?
We had a hurricane in 2017, and that was amazing for the island. That's what she said.
Pierce, crypto visionary and Bitcoin
What
billionaire,
the frick?
relocates to Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria.
I only casually observed Brock Pierce's entry into Puerto Rico and the claims that he was going to make it into a crypto utopia. But I'm well aware that the reason to go to Puerto Rico is for the tax benefits.
I'm clearly not here for those economic incentives. The stuff that I'm interested in are the things like helping Puerto Rico. I'm living a life in service.
This has created hyper-segregated communities of ultra-wealthy tax dodgers and the eroding of the Puerto Rico millions of normal working people.
Well, that's just like the Philippines, though. Oh, the only difference is that the ultra-rich are also Filipinos. I mean, if you look at it's a very well-known fact. It was being memed if you look at Forbes part, if you look at BGC and the surrounding areas, and my late grandfather, that was his vision for us. Well, sorry, Gramps. I don't think I'm gonna become ultra rich. Yeah, maybe I failed. Maybe I failed my grandpa. Like I failed most of my family. I don't think living in an ultra rich community will make me happy. I wanna be able to go to the convenience stores. I want my place to be accessible to delivery couriers. Man, I really want to be a premium. I really want to become a premium tutor to get paid more.
Salvage can be traded. Gather any that you uncover. Watch out!
Man, I love this combat shotgun. Oh, I remember, I'm a psyker. So I have what's the... I think it's F. Let's see. Yep, it's F. Oh wow, the sighting is good. Although, I don't really like this. I want it to be like toggle. I don't wanna hold it. That's a minor problem for me. Oh no, we're dropping. The loading times took so much. Wow, that's skin. What's the special attack for this? VB. I can't find it. Or maybe I'm pressing it and nothing's happening. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about this game. It took so much time to load. And I've almost been streaming for like 3 hours. So it's okay, see us in Charlie. I'm gonna end the stream soon.
I see you have found some tech remnants. How competent.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream now. So thanks. See ya. Hope everything works well. Works out. Excuse me. I'm gonna follow up with my company. Alright, bye bye. Have a good day or night wherever you are. See ya. Take a bath and then go to sleep.